Hi, Nursing 6818. Dr. Kim Paxton here. Welcome to Health Promotion and Prevention. This is your online course in which I'll be helping you navigate through some new knowledge, hopefully connect with some old knowledge, and help to encourage you to take a look at your lives and change them as you're gaining information to change those of the individuals you'll be caring for. I wanted to say hi, and I wanted to introduce myself to you. I do believe in exercise, and I do believe in engaging in the same principles and prescriptives that I tell my patients. So the first picture you're seeing on your left-hand side, that is me in the middle in the green tutu and my twin daughters. I engaged in my first Spartan race, not knowing what the Spartan race was about, but trusting that my daughters weren't going to try and kill me. They didn't kill me. It took me 2 hours and 19 minutes to complete the course. I completed it and had the best time of my life. Exercise is fun, and doing things that challenge you is even funner. In the middle is my family. My husband Rick is the one in the middle with the pointer. To the left is my daughter Brittany and her husband Aaron, and to the right is my daughter Courtney and her husband Matt. I only have my twins as my children, but they kept me very busy, and they still keep me busy. And the picture on the far right, I may or may not have been engaging in a little pyro moment. My daughter built a house in Wisconsin, and I was helping with cleaning up some of the debris that was left behind. It is quite empowering to see the force of nature, and fire is a very strong force, as we know from all the headlines in the news. But I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed helping them. So a little pyro related to your teacher. I love Great Danes, and my husband and I have had several Great Danes. These are an amazing animal, and they mean so much to my husband and myself. The picture on the far left, those are my twins when they were only 4 days old, and we brought them home from the hospital. The two dogs that you see in the picture, the Great Dane, her name is Pandora, or we called her Panda Bear, and the Doberman's name is Sabrina. Beatrice is in the center. She was quite the character. We got her at 11 months and she was rescued, and she was a dog from the Lord below. She really trialed us significantly. Queenie was a 5-year-old Great Dane that we also rescued. She had been severely abused and beaten with a broken spine and fractured hips, and we rehabilitated her. Both of my dogs across the top, Queenie, Beatrice, and Pandora, all have passed away, each of them from different ailments that affect Great Danes, 2 of them from cancer. The Great Dane we currently have is Marmaduke, and he's the pictures on the bottom. He is quite the character. He is also a rescue Great Dane. He was found abandoned on the streets of Chicago, put into the pound, and then adopted by an elderly couple that trained him to be a therapy dog. He is extremely smart, and he is a Houdini at escaping from the house and running away. So we had to change all the door handles because he could open everything and get out of the house. He is just a big love puppy, even though he weighs 165 pounds. Hobbies and fun. I am a huge country western fanatic, and I love Rascal Flatts, and I think I've been to every single concert that they've ever had in the Midwest. And yes, I'll go see them again. And yes, I got to go to a meet and greet. This was fun. This is my daughter Courtney, and I try to go back to Wisconsin where she is as frequently as I can to see her. She is a CrossFit coach, and this was my first day of doing a full CrossFit workout. I made it through the workout and lost about 7 pounds in sweat. This is our Spartan crew. We had the best time together, and it isn't about age and it's not about ability, even though one of our members, Garrett, who's on the far left, he did it in 1 hour and 10 seconds, and Matt and Courtney finished it in like 1 hour 30 minutes, and Brittany and I took forever. It's okay. We finished, and that's all that counts. I love pickling, and I've got recipes that go back to my great-great-grandmother. I love to sew and to make costumes. These are my twins when they were probably 3 years old, and they were princesses, and those are their ponies. And I love to make different types of dolls and stuffed animals. So, just a little bit about something about myself. And this week, you guys are going to be putting information about yourselves in postings to each other and responding to them. I'll post there too, but not as much as I provided you here. So now you know a little bit about me and where I'm from. I am actually from Wisconsin, and I've only been here in Colorado about a year. Most of my family is still living in Wisconsin, and Brittany is living in Minnesota. Oh, and I'm a huge University of Minnesota fanatic. My daughters both went to school there for their undergraduate degrees, and I went there for my graduate degree, my DNP. Go Gophers! So now that you know a little bit about me, and you know where I'm from and what I like to do, and that I have a life beyond being a teacher and a nurse practitioner, let's get into the guts of the course. In this course, Nursing 6818 Health Promotion and Prevention, we're going to be going over several different topics that relate to the promotion of health and the prevention of disease. One of the elements I want to make sure I bring forward to you is that even if I have a disease, I can optimize my health and I can potentially reverse that disease process. So the modules that we're going to be working with in the class have to do with the headings that you see here. You will also find these in your syllabi with more delineated information in the syllabi related to each of these elements. We're going to start by defining what is health. We're going to move in then to determining risk factors and who's going to get sick and who's not. We're going to look at the things that mediate disease. So there's a lot of elements that are extraneous to my genetics that mediate disease, and we're going to talk about those and learn about those. We have to learn about theory because we need to do it because we have to incorporate it. As we do the health promotion theories, I want you to be really cognizant of one of those theories that may speak to you because you need to use a theory when you do your comps. We're going to talk about change theories and how they help me understand human behavior and how they're going to help you understand human behavior. And that then helps you understand when your patient relapses how you're able to assist them and help them. We're then going to actually move into the elements of the health promotion by looking at culture of health and wellness. And it's not talking about population culture, but it's more of a culture of a mindset as well as environmental and family. We're going to look at a lot of different interventions, and then we're going to look at risk reduction for some very specific entities that we can control and we can reverse. The formatting of the course is going to look like this when you enter into it. This is under the Modules tab. Every single week has the exact same formatting so that you don't get lost or you don't get confused. You're going to start off with your objectives. I'll be doing a recording and putting it under course overview. You have your reading and your media, and then a brief lecture that augments your reading and your media that you may have. Then under the separate assignments tab, this is the element that you will need to do as your assignments, hence the word assignment, and that you'll be turning in relationship to the work that you're doing for the reading, the media, and the lecture material that I put up for you. This first week is more of getting acclimated to the course, understanding how it works, what my recommendations are for doing things, and how I'm expecting you to engage. You do have a quiz this first week. It's not a hard quiz, but you do have to do the reading and you do have to watch the videos because the quiz questions come directly from those elements. For your quiz, you are going to be able to take it 3 different times to get your maximum points, and it will show you what answers you have correct. But for those you have wrong, it's just going to say they're wrong, but it's not going to tell you what the right answer is. So mark those down on a piece of paper as you move along. I want to make sure you understand how to do discussions in this course. These are called CLT discussions, collaborative learning teams, because you're working in teams collaboratively to help each other gain new perspectives and understanding, and learning along the way. Each of you has been assigned into a CLT. You will find what your placement is by going under the People tab, finding yourself, and then just kind of cruising around in there. From there, you'll be able to find out what CLT you're actually in. That's the easiest way. The next way is if you click on each of these, you're only going to be able to get into one of them because you only have permission to get into one CLT. You'll be provided with instructions each week, and you'll be given questions to answer. Now, some weeks the questions are more complex because of the content of the reading in the media and the lecture material. Other weeks, it's really trying to get you to engage in the thinking and the mindset of, I want to improve my health, I have to do some prevention, and I have to change something, and thinking along those lines. This class is set up as an experiential one, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a minute. Each week that you have a CLT discussion, your first posting is going to be due on Wednesday at 23:59 p.m. So your initial posting is due on Wednesday at 23:59 p.m. You then have to respond to two other members of your CLT, your learning community, by Sunday at 23:59 p.m. You must first post your response, your initial response, before you'll be able to see the other CLT members' postings. So just keep that in mind. If you're the first person to post, you're not going to see anybody else's because there's nobody there to see. If you have questions about how to work in the CLTs, please don't hesitate. Please make sure you're contacting me. For your CLTs, there'll be times when I'm going to specifically ask you to use a citation or to support what you're saying. And the reason behind that is because the question is generated from what your learnings were that week from the readings or the videos. And I want to see that you're actually doing those and integrating that new knowledge into the questions. You see, the questions that I've posed to you in a lot of these are actually the same way that you're going to have to think and translate to communicate back to your patient. So this gives you an opportunity to work on that thinking. Each of the discussions that you'll have will be graded with a rubric. And as a matter of fact, all the assignments that you have occurring here in the Health Promotion and Prevention course will be graded from a rubric. There are two rubrics that I'm still working on. One is in week number 2, and the other one is towards the end. Those should be up by Saturday or Sunday. But I didn't like how they looked when I first put them up. I thought they were too complex, and I wasn't being clear enough for you to be able to really get an understanding. So I took them down, and I'm going to redo them and put them back up. So please look over the rubric for the discussion. Understand what it's asking you. If you want to get those maximum points, you can't just say, wow, that was the best discussion. Thank you so much for sharing. I learned so much. That's going to get you really low points. You're not working to bring forward new context. You're not challenging what may have been said. You're not expanding the conversation. And that's what a discussion is, expanding the conversation. So that's what I'm looking for you to do. Spelling and APA are two things that I have listed here. I'm not such a big one. Sometimes there's going to be a mistake that'll happen. It happens. I will, though, be a stickler with APA, so when I ask for a reference, I want the reference written as an APA format and the citation in APA format within the body of your discussion. And we're going to go a little bit more over that. Timeliness is making sure that you do your first post by Wednesday and you respond to 2 people by Sunday. So that's what that's about. I want to go over APA with you. I don't know what you've done in your other courses, but this is a graduate nursing course, and being able to write is one of the elements that you are required to be able to do in a professional manner based upon the AACN Essentials of Master's Education. It's also part of the criteria for NOMP and the adult geriatric competencies. So it's not something that I'm doing because it's Kim's thing. It's actually a requirement for our accrediting bodies. When you're providing me with a paper, that paper needs to have a title page. This is from the OWL online resources, and it provides you a template on how to do a title page. Please take note of the running head. In the past, I found students have a difficult time with these running heads. The running head verbiage is actually lowercase, so you have uppercase and lowercase, and the actual running head that you're going to be putting on your paper is in caps. Now, there is a character maximum for the title that you put in your running head. I encourage you to look at your APA book to learn exactly what that is. The title page is labeled number 1, and the pages that follow this consecutively follow as 2, 3, 4, and etc. For the first page of your paper, your running head will be in the upper area. This is about half an inch from the top of the paper with your page number. Now this one has a number 3 because the page that preceded is an abstract. You did not have to write abstracts for this course. That would be something more for research. So you have your running head, and then the next element that needs to be there is the title of your paper. You do have 2 papers that are due for this course. Both of them are major papers, and I am expecting you to please follow this formatting. I will take points off if the formatting is not correct. The next element is the citations in your papers and responses. Now this can get a little bit complex depending upon how many authors are in the articles that you are using. So I really encourage you to use your APA books and look at those elements to really be able to assure that you don't get points taken off because you did not do the proper citations. In your responses that you're giving when I'm asking you to please cite a source, please make sure they're in correct APA format. The 6 or more authors one is one that students have a tendency to get tripped on. When it's 6 or more authors in an article and you're using that as a citation, the first citation would be the author, the first author's last name, and et al., and then the year, where typically it's all the authors' last names in the year, but when it's 6 or more, that's just so big, they cut it down. So please make sure you go ahead and look at your citation pages in your APA book. They'll be really helpful for you. I encourage you to tag them too because you'll use them frequently. The last element is the reference page and the references you'll use in your discussion. Please remember that the word reference needs to be centered on the page. Notice that it's not bolded, it's just the normal font and the normal coloring. For the reference that you're using, they are done in alphabetical order. They start off flush left to the border. The borders of your papers will all be 1 inch all the way around. So that's flush left. And then the second sentence or the second part of that reference is indented half an inch. There are great examples of this online and also in your APA book. If by chance you're getting confused and you're uncertain, please don't hesitate, email me and I'll help you walk through this. This is really important for you to understand as we start into this course. We can only care for others to the degree that we care for ourselves. If we as nurses do not have good self-care practices, then how are we able to adequately transfer this to our patients? And this is a challenge because you have not been grown as a nurse to care for yourself. I just attended a conference about a couple days ago that talked about compassionate fatigue and how it affects us. And the longer you're a nurse, the greater is the compassion fatigue that takes over. And we stop caring for ourselves. So in this course, as I'm teaching you how to help others, I also want you to be looking at how can you help yourself? How can you make changes in your life to promote your health, to prevent diseases in your body, to reverse disease processes that you may have present, to combat stress. How can you do this? The picture you see there, these are my students who actually took this course in another semester. And as you can see, they look pretty darn happy. The reason they're happy is not because the class is over, but because each of them had a goal to promote their own health. The gentleman that you see there, his name is Rich. Rich started off weighing about 475 pounds. And over the term of this course, he lost 70 pounds. Now that's quite an achievement. As we started the course, Rich had said that he tried everything, but nothing seemed to work for him. But he began to understand the barriers, the things that kept him from being successful, the things I'll be teaching you. I'm still in touch with Rich, and I'm still in touch with all of these students that you see here. We have a special bond, you see. We all care about each other, and we all care about continuing to help each other. It takes 4 weeks for you to notice your body changing, 8 weeks for your friends, and 12 weeks for the rest of the world. Give it 12 weeks, and don't quit. This is a 12-week course, not counting spring break, which makes it 13. And in 12 weeks, you have the most fantastic ability to gain new knowledge, to challenge yourself, to change yourself, and to translate information you're going to gain in this course into usable elements for yourself, for your family, for your patients. Teaching people to care for themselves and do it ourselves is one of the most difficult practices we engage in as nurses and nurse practitioners. We can do this. But in order to do this, we have to be open-minded and be willing to hear and change our perspectives and our beliefs. Some of you may have tried health promotional practices in the past and had not the results you wanted. So now you have preconceived perceptions. You have personal bias. In order to truly care for a person, to help them change, we have to put our personal beliefs and our personal biases from our own self-experiences aside and use the evidence. Try the evidence. Gain understanding of how to be successful. How do you overcome a barrier? How do you challenge it so that you can translate that to your patients? And that is what I'm hoping that I am able to help you with in this class. Welcome to Health Promotion and Prevention. Get ready for the journey of your life, and I'm hoping it'll be fun. I'll talk to you next week. In the meantime, have a great week.